Welcome back, comrades. This is Gaming with Austin. And today, we are on episode 44 of Season 2 of the Utopian Community Series. Let's get this going. There's some things I might talk about in this video, like I know this may be kind of personal. Some people see it as hard to talk about. I can handle this. The sad news, the last of my great-grandparents passed away yesterday. I know, this is kind of sad. Ich lerne aus meiner Onkel, aus mein Onkel. Ich lerne meine aus Onkel. I learned that from, I learned about the last of my great-grandparents passing from my uncle. I know my brother didn't want to tell me about it because I don't want to be this upset close to my birthday. But you gotta think about this. Everything will eventually die. All the stars in the universe will eventually burn out. This is just a fact of life throughout the whole universe. We are all gonna die someday. The average chances of, for most of us, the average chance of surviving 10 years from today, it's a pretty good chance in the developed world, but in the developing countries, it's even lower. Because they don't have access to healthcare, just like we do. Because governments are so corrupt, and in fact some of them are actually struggling to keep every citizen alive. Some of them are literally to the brink of struggling to keep their citizens alive. This is sad. The last great-grandparent that passed away before recently was about 4 years ago. A little over 3 years ago. Then before that, nothing in the universe can last forever. Because there's simply not enough matter for that. The amount of matter in the universe is finite. The ultimate thing that'll kill everything off everything in the universe entropy. Entropy states that there's only one way something can be put into order, while there are infinitely many ways that it can go into disorder. There's only one way how it can stay in order, while there are infinitely many ways it can go into disorder. On a very large object, the average lifespan of a human is about 80 years. As much as any of you want to go to my great-grandmother's funeral this Saturday, I can't cram all of you into a car. I can't. There's not enough seats for that. Like my grandmother. The average lifespan is about 70 to 80 years old in a developed world. But the last of my great-grandparents lived to be about 90. Which is pretty old. Compared to the average of about 65 to 70 years old. Want to know how we can live longer? Cut out cholesterol entirely. If we want to live longer, we gotta change our diets. Pollen season's kicking in, which is why I'm sometimes full of mucus. It's kicking in the northern hemisphere. Not the southern hemisphere. Because it's gonna reach autumn soon in this, if you live in the southern hemisphere. If you live in the southern hemisphere, like if you live in Australia, most of South America, or if you live in South Africa, flu season's about to kick in. But if you live in the tropical regions, like for example Southeast Asia, or India, or South Asia, or much of Africa, you gotta get your flu shot. A lot. If I take a trip to the Caribbean, I'd have to get a flu shot before I get there, so I don't get sick. The problem with just letting anyone into our borders is some of them might carry a disease we are not immune to. Some of the people might carry a disease we are not immune to. Which is why it's best to leave the Sentinelese people alone. Because they are prone to a lot of diseases we have a resistance to. Something as simple as a vaccine can kill them. Because their immune system's not very strong compared to ours. You know, genetic engineering. The problem with my critique I have against genetic engineering is a possible butterfly effect. The butterfly effect, in a nutshell, one small action can lead to a really huge consequence. That's the butterfly effect right there. That is the butterfly effect right there. A butterfly effect can, like if you go back far enough into the past, it becomes a grandfather paradox. You know, it's not our fault we are addicted to our cell phones. It ain't our fault. They designed them that way so they could make it, so they could turn out as much money as possible, without regards to the well-being of citizens. And as you get older, your chances of dying within the next 10 years increases. Slowly. That is due to something called senescence. Senescence is one of the many products of entropy. Entropy is ever increasing. And matter must go from a higher energy state to a lower energy state too. When a star burns out, its white dwarf remnant, what remains is a lot of gas clouds that is used for the formation of future stars. And also, a white dwarf, a neutron star, or a black hole. Depending on the mass of the star. It depends on the mass of the star. But for red dwarfs, they can go for trillions of years. But orange dwarfs, like Rigel Centaurus B, which is also known as, which its official name is Alpha Centauri B, they can last a lot longer than sun-like stars. I believe that if a wealthy person was to die, their money should go straight to the government. Because inheritance is a way to... It's a pretty unethical way of accumulating capital. Most business people accumulate capital by not so ethical means, like planned obsolescence. I get that people want to keep cherish their products for a long time. The problem with our society now is our society is starting to become more of a hierarchical society. We don't want that. Our democracy is falling around the world, not just in America. International unions are on the verge of collapse. Like the European Union. What's going to drive it further into collapse? Climate change. Because there's a lot of people and not enough resources to keep everybody alive. There wouldn't be enough resources to keep everybody alive, so people would have to fight over it. Even if they don't want to, they have to fight over it. They have to fight over it. Like, with the Rubik's Cube, there are about 23 quintillion possible combinations, but there's only one possible solution. For a 4x4, it's even higher. The amount of combinations is much higher. That's proof that there's only one solution. There's only one correct answer to a problem, while there are infinitely many incorrect answers. This is due to something called entropy. Scramble up a Rubik's Cube. Regardless of what you do, like you turn it, you put the cube into a state of disorder. But when it's solved, it's in a state of order. A Rubik's Cube is a well-known example of how entropy works. well-known example of how entropy happens. Entropy is something that is ever-increasing. Then when a Boltzmann brane appears, it would be caused by a sudden drop in entropy. That would mean the sudden drop of in entropy. When entropy increases, the less likely life would be able to sustain itself. Because your body cannot sustain itself forever without food. No organism is able to do that. That is because the laws of thermodynamics also applies to biology as well. Because our body's constantly giving off heat. Several chemical reactions must be undergone to keep you alive. To explain why urban areas tend to be hotter compared to rural areas regardless of fossil fuels, you gotta go into the laws of thermodynamics. The more furnaces you have, the hotter it gets. But if it's a solar-powered furnace, it's still gonna get hotter. Regardless. Same thing works with the LAN party, with really powerful CPUs and GPUs. It gets hot inside because of electrical energy. It requires work to use energy. As stated in the second laws of thermodynamics, energy input cannot exceed the energy output cannot exceed the input. Entropy always increases. Entropy is something that always increases. The only thing you can do at best is to slow it down. Chemical energy is required for all life in the universe to function. Unless the life form is made of pure energy. Einstein's equation, mass can be converted into energy. But what can energy be converted into, other than, like, energy can be converted into mass. Because before the Big Bang, the universe consisted of pure energy. But then, boom, Big Bang. What can that mass be converted into? Now we're going into the theory of the false vacuum. Like, based on theory about a metastable vacuum. If the Higgs boson, also known as the God particle, is metastable, we're potentially doomed. Like, well, we might be safe, but there's a problem. Quantum tunneling. Which means that quantum tunneling happens pretty quickly. And if that true vacuum bubble explodes into the Earth at the speed of light, we're fucked. But the God particle is stable. We're safe. The God particle is what assigns mass to everything in the universe, except for light. The universe is slow. When the universe was just pure energy, its temperature was at -0 Kelvin. That is the temperature in which all the particles in the universe are at their highest energy state. At infinite Kelvin, that's when 50% of the particles are at their highest energy state, and 50% of them are at their lowest energy state, or maybe exactly halfway. All the particles are exactly halfway between them. Those 2 points of energy. Entropy is something that is ever increasing. When an organism dies, its remnants are used by are brought back into the dirt, which is also known as soil, to help nourish new life. basically the circle of life, in a nutshell. Right there. The carcass of animals provides nutrition to both predators and scavengers alike. The scavenger usually hunts dead animals. They basically clean up the rotted body landslide. And anyways, this is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed this video. As always, don't forget to leave a like if you liked this video, a dislike if you disliked it, subscribe for more. Share this with your comrades on social media. As always, thank you for watching, stay tuned for more, and peace out.